Hi everyone, I'm Daniela and welcome back to Black Cat Kitchen. Today we're making a classic British dessert, treacle tart. This tart has a perfectly crisp pastry base and a chewy and sweet filling, often served with ice cream or just some double cream poured on the top. It's a British classic for a reason. Let's jump into the recipe.
You'll find a list of ingredients and measurements in the description below.
Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. 180 fan.
For your pastry, you'll need 250 grams, 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons of flour. To this, you'll sift in 24 grams or 3 tablespoons of icing sugar. The icing sugar not only adds a little bit of sweetness to the pastry, it helps it crisp up and get nice and golden brown when we blind bake it. Give that a mix with a fork until it's all come together. Now add 140 grams, 5/8 a cup of frozen or very cold butter. If you're freezing it, you're best off grating your butter right into your flour. With the tips of your fingers, start rubbing the butter into the flour. You want this to look like wet sand. To our sandy flour butter mix, add in 2 egg yolks. I'm giving them a little pierce just to break them before I add them to the mix. This keeps our pastry beautifully tender. Just start stirring this together with a fork. And as you're doing this, you'll want to add in a few tablespoons of ice cold water. I keep ice cubes in the water and keep it in the fridge to keep it extra cold. You'll want to drizzle in the water a little bit at a time. A soggy pastry just won't crisp up as nicely. Once your pastry forms a cohesive ball with just a few shaggy bits hanging off the end, that's when it's ready. Wrap it up in some cling film, using the cling film to bring the edges together so there are no cracks when we roll it out. We're going to pop that in the fridge for about 30 minutes to chill. 30 minutes later, let's roll out our dough. Give your bench and dough a light dusting of flour. You'll want to roll it to about 3 to 4 millimeters thick. I like to turn my pastry while I'm rolling it out so that it doesn't stick and I get a nice even roll across the whole piece of dough. And make sure that it's going to fit in your pan.
I'm using a 9.5 inch, 24 centimeter tart tin with a removable bottom. This makes it nice and easy to get your tart out of the tin once it's cooled.
Roll your pastry back onto the roller and then slide the pan underneath. Now roll your pastry out off of the roller into your pan. Make sure when you're tucking in those edges that you're lifting and tucking, not pulling the pastry, because that will cause it to shrink when it bakes. I'm cutting around the edge of the tart, leaving a tiny little bit of a lip just so I can add a little more height. I'm taking the extra little bit of pastry and just pinching it up so that it sits just above the tart shell. Dock the bottom with a fork and then put the pastry in the fridge for another 30 minutes to chill. It's time to blind bake. I'm scrunching up a piece of parchment paper. That will help it lay flat in the bottom of the pastry. Now line that paper with some pie weights. I'm using traditional clay pie weights, but you can use dried rice or dried beans. Just make sure you don't cook with them afterwards.
Bake this for 15 minutes, then remove your pie weights, brush your crust with some egg wash. I'm using just the egg white, and pop it back in your oven for another 10 minutes until it's beautiful and golden brown.
Into our pot goes 400 grams, 1 1/4 cups of golden syrup. It has to be golden syrup for this recipe. Nothing else will do as a substitute.
If you don't live in the UK or Australia and you can't find golden syrup in your international section of the grocery store, check out my recipe that I've linked down below for golden syrup.
Set your pot onto medium-high and add to your golden syrup 60 grams, 1/4 cup of butter. We don't need the golden syrup to get really hot here. It just needs to become fluid and help that butter to melt. Give it a little whisk to help melt the butter. Once the butter is all melted, you can take the pan off the heat. To this, we're adding 30 milliliters, 2 tablespoons of double or heavy cream, 2 grams, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, the zest of a lemon. I'm using half because my lemon is huge, and 15 milliliters, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Once the mix has cooled slightly, add in 1 egg and 1 egg yolk and whisk vigorously. And finally, whisk in 140 grams, 1 1/4 cups of breadcrumbs. Now pour that sticky filling into your pre-baked pie shell.
Now turn your oven down to 320 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius, or 140 degrees fan. This will bake for 25 to 30 minutes until you just have a little wibble in the middle of your tart.
This is best served slightly warm or at room temperature with a scoop of ice cream, a little bit of double cream, or why not treat yourself to a small scoop of clotted cream and enjoy the tastes of Britain at home.
If you're looking for another British classic, check out my Victoria sponge recipe. And if you're looking for another use for golden syrup, why not try my flapjacks? Make sure to hit that subscribe button for more videos coming up soon. Thank you so much for watching, and from me and Kiki, we'll see you in the next video.